Hello, my name is Kyle Steele. I'm running for Norman City Council, Ward 6 in the upcoming election cycle, and this is the summary of the City Council meeting that happened on November 25th, 2025. As usual, I'll link the agenda packet down below, along with all the other kind of important points of the meeting in the description. This meeting itself, it was pretty straightforward. It was about 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it took a while because of the public comments and the comments on a specific agenda item. Essentially, the approval of the minutes, proclamations, and the non-consent docket went as expected, with everything being approved unanimously. The only thing I will note from these sections is Councilmember Peacock stated he has a conflict of interest regarding a simple plan unit development, or SPUD, rezoning request, and so he won't be voting on the second or final reading of it in the future. Other council members noted that they acknowledged that some residents were concerned about this potential SPUD that was brought up in public comments quite a bit, and they were going to be working with residents on those concerns. If you want to see what specifically he stated he had a conflict of interest in, that would be item 4 in the agenda packet. That's going to be linked. For the non-consent section of the meeting, it was just one item. It was about the purchase of a land along Reed Avenue just south of Food and Shelter. It was around 3.33 acres. And while this is just a land purchase, the long-term planning for this is to have a permanent homeless shelter situated there. So of course it's got a bunch of attention from the Ward 4 residents in the area. Essentially the comments, centered on, like, while the land purchase itself is okay because you could do a lot with this land, they are obviously concerned about a homeless shelter being built in their neighborhoods. A consistent ask from the residents who are going to be near this planned permanent homeless shelter is that due diligence was done by the city and studies be done on the local neighborhoods to determine what the impact of a potential 24/7 shelter would be, and to see if there's any way that the city could lessen those impacts. That being said, because this was just a simple land purchase approval, it was approved unanimously, and essentially it was stated that the process of evaluating this land and what a permanent homeless shelter may look like and working with the local community on what goes on this land eventually is going to last well into next year. So this isn't the last time that we're going to hear about this piece of land, and a permanent homeless shelter may be finally on the horizon for Norman. Public comment, as usual, it was a bit of a mixed bag with residents about various concerns that's happening within the community. The main thing I will note here for this summary, since it's a little bit of a hot topic issue nationally, is they did talk about the relationship between Norman PD and the undocumented immigrant community. Essentially, it was noted that it's been stated multiple times that Norman PD does not care about the immigration status of the individuals that they talk to. Essentially, they're wanting to just solve crimes that are happening, right? And asking someone what their immigration status is can sometimes conflict, or make that tougher, rather, if they're like a witness or a victim and they're not wanting to make the job harder in that sense. And so it's not really a question that's on their radar. However, there's a big but here. The Cleveland County Sheriff's Office does apparently check the immigration status of inmates sometimes. So if someone is arrested and then are sent to the Cleveland County Jail, which is run by the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office, the Sheriff's Office may then run an immigration check on it, and then that process may play out if it turns out that they are an illegal immigrant. So essentially, it was stated that if you have a problem with this policy, then you would have to contact the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office. As the city of Norman, there isn't really much they could do on this particular topic. The contract between the city of Norman and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office for inmate housing is pretty standard, and there's not much wiggle room in that. So, with that being said, that was the end of the meeting after about 2 hours and 40 minutes, as I stated. Thank you for watching this video, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the summary here, or my campaign in general, feel free to contact me at KyleForNorman@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good day.